Have you ever had a game that you really unironically enjoy, yet people honestly seem to hate it? That's Sonic R, a game that I'll admit is very flawed, but that I still have a lot of fun with. This game, it gets a lot of hate, but it's not that bad. I'm not the only one to have said so. This is actually the second time I've recorded this video. But the first time I tried to, I had, well, A, some audio issues, and B, before I could go back and re-record, RGT85 beat me to the punch, with a video kind of expressing a similar point. Sonic R for the Sega Saturn is not a bad game. In fact, I feel like there's a lot of good here. Well, not a lot, as the game's a bit light on content, but we're gonna get into that. So today on Stuff We Play, I'm gonna tell you why I think Sonic R for the Sega Saturn, PC, or GameCube is worth your time. Welcome to Stuff We Play, home of everything weird and retro, and if you agree that the Sega Saturn is both weird and retro, why not subscribe? Honestly, this is going to sound really weird, but this is a game I actually grew up with, in a way. You see, the first game I ever played was Sonic 1 on the Genesis, and then I got a GameCube after that, and I have, friends who had PS1s and 64, and even one kid who had a Dreamcast. I had no idea what the hell a Sega Saturn was. But one thing I did have was the Sonic Gems collection. Not this particular version of the Sonic Gems collection. This is the Japanese version, which, along with actually being a bit better than the US version, is the only one I had on hand right now. I mainly wanted this collection because I looked at the back of the box and saw a Sonic CD, and I was like, huh, that looks kind of like the old Sonic game I used to play, not knowing that it was a Sega CD game. But also on there were Sonic R and Sonic the Fighters. Sonic the Fighters was a really weird arcade game that's, well, a fighting game, and to be honest, that one is pretty terrible. But Sonic R kind of piqued my interest in a weird way. It was this odd 3D Sonic game that didn't look as good as the games of the time. I mean, I was used to playing the likes of Sonic Adventure 2, and I had no idea that the Sega Saturn even existed. So I was like, well, this is a weird, primitive-looking Sonic game. Unlike the likes of Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, which, by the way, is a wonderful game, or even the upcoming Team Sonic Racing, it's not a Mario Kart clone. Instead, it's an on-foot race, or mostly on foot. Sonic R, much like Sonic 3D Blast, which was released on the Sega Genesis and also on the Sega Saturn, was developed by Traveler's Tales, who was famously headed by John Burton, who now has a really great YouTube channel called Game Hut. There's no real plot or story given here, but mainly you just take control of one of a plethora of different Sonic characters. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, who's actually in a car, and Dr. Robotnik, who's in his Eggmobile. You choose one of these characters and set off in a race on one of 4 tracks, which, keeping with the Sonic R moniker, all involve a name with the letter R in it. Now, the game initially seems super light on content. I mean, only a few characters and 4 tracks, but what's weird is that these tracks encourage exploration. Each one contains a Chaos Emerald or 2, and getting all the emeralds will unlock not only the final stage of the game, but also Super Sonic, who is completely unbalanced and will probably lose you a lot of friends if you choose to race as him. Seriously, he's faster than literally any other character in the game. But there's also these coins you can collect, which will unlock additional characters, such as Metal Sonic or the nightmare-inducing Tails doll, among others. A lot of people complain about the control in Sonic R, especially with the tight turns, especially with the primitive camera system here, which honestly gets caught up on walls more than I'd like it to. What you have to master in Sonic R is holding the L or R buttons while you turn. If you just turn by using the D-pad, you'll do a pretty wide turn. But by turning while holding in one of the shoulder buttons, you turn almost on a dime, leading to some really precise controls actually. Furthermore, every character has their own abilities. Knuckles can glide, Tails can fly, and Sonic can do a double jump for some reason, which I appreciate. Probably my favorite character to play as here is Knuckles. While he doesn't seem particularly faster than any of them, I enjoy his glide ability, and also he's my favorite character to play as in Sonic 3 and Knuckles in Sonic Mania. Not the Plus version of Mania, but base Sonic Mania. What's weird about Sonic R is that I feel like it's best enjoyed as a single player experience. As just one player, it's easy for you to focus on collecting all the stuff in each stage, unlocking new paths throughout each stage, and still trying to come out on top. It's a game that requires you to multitask a little bit, but in turn I feel like that works really well in its favor. What's even better than this is the soundtrack. It's no secret that I think Sonic R has the best soundtrack out of any Sonic game ever. I probably listen to the Sonic R soundtrack more than I play the game. Like, just Listen to a sample of this. So, the soundtrack is great, but more than anything else, the game itself is pretty good, though of course it isn't without its issues. Yes, there's the camera issues and also the balancing issues, never play as supersonic if you want a fair and balanced race, but also it's just very light on content. For a Sega Saturn copy of the game, complete in box, you're probably looking at about $50 nowadays, though the Sonic Gems Collection version is definitely going to be a bit cheaper. But of course, the Gems Collection in general was starting to climb in price anyways, because that's the most recent way to play the non-2011 version of Sonic CD. What I'm saying is, if you can find a way to play it for cheap, Sonic R is a good time. But don't spend a lot of money on it, and don't expect to get as much out of it as you would with, say, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But Sonic R, while not necessarily a great game, is definitely a fun game. And I think it's a game that I definitely enjoy, and that if you're a Sonic fan, you could definitely get some enjoyment out of. But you know what, I may be just beginning to ramble on just a bit. Have you ever played Sonic R for the Sega Saturn, or really any port of this game? Let me know down in the comment section below, and while you're at, why don't you subscribe to Stuff We Play for more great content like this, or even back us on Patreon, because every dollar earned from Patreon does go back into the channel itself. So with that, thank you very much for watching, stay classy, I'll see you next time.